Pastor confesses to affair in church sermon, but then mistress confirms the worst. More after this. Hello everyone, and welcome back to AG's Point of View, where I give you my analysis of the most popular topics in the world today. Today's video, we got a pastor who confessed to committing adultery 20 years ago in front of his sermon, in front of his congregation, and in a sermon, and his mistress confirms the worst. Before I dive into the details of the video, if you're new here, welcome. Welcome to AG's Point of View. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. It'll bring more prospective people over. Awesome people, similar to yourself. All my normal subscribers, thanks for coming back. I'm diving in. A pastor got himself a standing ovation in his Warsaw, Indiana church on Sunday by confessing that he committed the sin of adultery. Then they heard what really happened. Pastor John Lowe told his New Life Christian church that he had cheated on his wife with a woman beginning nearly 20 years ago, and that it had continued far too long. He made it clear that it was a single affair. Not that that means anything, but it involved one person and there has been no other. I sinned. I need to say that you deserve to hear it. After asking for forgiveness from those that I sinned against, he publicly stepped down from his position, citing recommendations from the board. Like we said, his congregation didn't revolt. They actually applauded his honesty. Okay? Of course, that was after hearing his side of the story. But one person wasn't about to let it go at that. The woman that he had an affair with said she actually spoke up. A woman stood up and walked to the podium with her husband, grabbing the mic and telling her side of the story. She said she lived in a prison of lies and shame. For 27 years, I lived in a prison. It was not 20 years. Why would that detail be so crucial? Oh, because of her age when the affair began. She explained she was a victim and will be still in that prison of silence, covering up for Lowe if her brother hadn't shared with her something that he saw all those years ago as a teenager. His pastor in bed with his younger sister. That's right, he was a teen and she was a younger sister. She went on to make this things crystal clear, stating in front of the entire Sunday crowd, when I was 16, when you took my virginity on your office floor. Do you remember that? I know you do. Wow. 16 years old? He groomed this girl. There's just no other way to look at it. And on the church floor, the church office floor, whoa. Now that we have to point out 16 is actually the age of consent in Indiana, which already, when you're talking about with a grown man and not another teen, gross. However, he was also her pastor. That's a position of power, no different than a teacher having sex with a student. That's foul, and I agree. She said her brother wasn't the only person who saw things and stayed silent for years to protect the community leader. She said people knew but were afraid to come forward. She also blasted the so-called confession that he said that he was not the victim here. He implied that with his BS version of the event. She declared, the church deserves to know the truth. The church has been built on lies, but no more. She accused him directly. You did things to my teenage body that had never should have been done. Upon hearing these allegations, members of the church demanded answers of their now former pastor, finally admitted she was 16 years old. It was wrong. I can't make it right. I can't make it any better. That's just the way it is. If I can go back and redo it all, I would. I can't. And all I can do is ask for you to forgive me. Now, they had a video that kind of went viral. I'm going to give you a clip of it, put the remaining, because it's a 13-minute video, and I'm not going to leave it all here. I'm just going to give you a piece of it, and then I'll post the link in the description so that way you can watch the rest of it. And the full 13 minutes or whatever, and then we'll, kind of go from there. But I'll give you my commentary right after this.
And I have an announcement for you. It's called a confession. And so it says to the family, to the church, Debbie and I have been out of town attending the funeral. My absence at this time was not about self-protection. We were caring for hurting people. That's why I'm here today. To follow a biblical process of confession, repentance, and forgiveness. If God wants anything out of us, as we just heard, it's to bring healing to all who are involved. I committed adultery. It was nearly 20 years ago. It continued far too long.
For 27 years, I lived in a prison. It was not 20 years. I lived in a prison of lies and shame. Lying to protect the Lowe family. For years, I thought I was a horrible person having suicidal thoughts, not realizing what had been truly done to me. That I was a victim, and I would still be in a prison if my brother, and many of you know him, Edgar Wolf, had not approached me just 2 weeks ago with what he had seen as a teenager that bothered him all these years. His pastor in bed with his younger sister, a t-shirt and underwear on. People knew but were too afraid to come forward, and they have now. The lies and the manipulation have to stop. I was a prisoner and you kept me in your prison. I'm a prisoner no longer. I was just 16 when you took my virginity on your office floor. Do you remember that? I know you do, and I have plenty of other stories that I could bring to your remembrance. You did things to my teenage body that had never and should have never been done. If you can't admit the truth, you have to answer to God. You are not the victim here.
All right, so now we have a pastor, all right? That, to me, it was good that he came out and confessed and said what he had to say. You know what I mean? Maybe his spirit was eating him alive, you know what I'm saying? Not to mention people in the congregation was kind of like, not really the congregation, but members of the church found out about it, and they was kind of getting to him. So me personally, he would have took that to the grave. He would have took that all the way to the grave. He wouldn't have never said anything, and that would have been that. Now, the fact that the age of consent in Indiana is actually 16 years old, okay? I'm not actually mad. It is disgusting. Don't get me wrong, it's disgusting. But if that's the age of consent in Indiana, fine. That's the rules. You know what I'm saying? That's how they play it. Over here, when you know where I'm at, it's 18. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that a grown man can have sexual relations with a 16-year-old, I don't really think that her body is kind of like probably fully grown. Like, I mean, she's still growing, like, you know what I mean? And then the disgusting part to me is you had sex with this chick on the church office floor. Like, really, bro? So, like, you in the house of God and you banging this chick back out? Like, no, that ain't cool to me at all, bro. Like, God's house should be revered. It should be respected at all times. You do everything that you could possibly do to actually take care of that. Whether you believe in, Christianity or not, you know what I mean? I would never go to a mosque and disrespect it, you know what I'm saying? Because, those that, attend Muslims and the Islamic community, I would never disrespect it regardless of I'm Islamic or not, you know what I'm saying? So I would respect that at all costs because that's their place of worship. No place of worship should you be having sex. You know what I mean? I think that's disgusting. I think that's nasty. I think, something should be said about that. Now, granted, he may not do jail time, but don't worry about it. I'm sure God will punish him, you know what I'm saying? Because something like this, God, he's no respecter of man, you know what I mean? You break the rules, get dealt with. Simple as that. Same thing for you, same thing for me, same thing for all of us, you know what I'm saying? So, and this goes back to people believing in people. You know what I'm saying? Like, me personally, I go to church. We got a pastor. He preaches. He does what he has to do, right? He's a human being. He's a man. You know what I'm saying? He sins just like I do. You know what I mean? So we can't put them on a pedestal. And that's where people make the mistake at. It's like, yeah, he should be doing the right thing, but is he doing the right thing? Is he perfect? No. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I understand he's married, but, you know, it's like, you know, don't put yourself in a predicament because, you know, any person given a chance is going to make that mistake and go do what they're going to do. So we need to be more, you know, cognizant of what's going on around us, who we're dealing with, you know what I'm saying? And like, I don't know how she was dressed. I don't know if she was kind of flirtatious. I mean, I know she did it in the beginning and she was cool with it. And like, he raped her, you know what I'm saying? She went in there and did it with him. It was probably like, you know, she probably thought it was a wonderful thing at the time, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna bash him completely because she did do it and she held on to it for 20 years, you know what I'm saying? And she said this went well into her 20s. So, I mean, they had an affair for several years. She could have came out and said something. You know what I mean? What is he going to do, kill you? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so, I mean, regardless of what happened, if someone's doing something wrong to you, you got to speak up. And we're not going to act like you're the complete victim, you know what I'm saying? You know, and you just sitting there, you're like, you know, and you feeling, oh my God, you know, he victimized me. Okay, yeah, we can all play the victim. We all looking for money, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, you laid down there and you did what you did. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to completely, you know, let her off the record. You know what I'm saying? So it took her this long. He said 20. She said 27 years. So it took you 27 years to hold on to this secret. I mean, come on. Come on. What we doing? You know what I'm saying? So it's just ironic how people coming out all of a sudden now a story comes up. Possibility you're going to get some money off of it, a story, a book, and all this other kind of stuff. So I don't know. They both wrong at any rate. You know what I'm saying? He should have never did it. She should have never did it. If it was a problem and he did it, you know what I mean? You could have said, hey, listen, I've been raped by the pastor early in the game. Get him out of there. That'd be done with. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, she chose to go on with it. You know what I'm saying? He chose to go on with it. So they both wrong. They both get dealt with accordingly, you know, by the law of God. So, you know what I'm saying? But what do you say? What do you say? You know what I mean? What do you think? Am I wrong for saying that? Am I out of place for saying that? You give me your opinion. You know what I mean? Talk to me down in the comments and I'll talk back to you. You know what I'm saying? I love every single one of y'all. You know what I'm saying? I want y'all to be extra careful out here and enjoy your holidays wherever you are. And, you know, don't forget to see me on my social media platforms, you know, subscribe, like, comment, you know, all that good stuff. And I'm gonna see y'all a little later. Talk to me in the comments. Peace.